As Bob said, I'm Seth Keel, and I'm a senior at Middle Creek High School, and I'm a member of the youth activist organization NC Heat. And I first want to say just a little bit about why education is so important to me and why I've kind of been really involved in the fight for quality education here in Wood County and also around North Carolina. For me, to leave behind a broken system without having actively worked to change it would weigh down on my conscience and wouldn't allow me to live soundly. And to me, education is about building relationships and community while gaining knowledge that will allow for critical thinking and the ability to make decisions as individuals while we're also discovering our identity. And Pope's money doesn't support this. It supports an education system based on privilege. And so I want to offer a little perspective of how Pope's policies that were pushed in Wake County through the 2009 election and for those 2 years through the local school board would have negatively impacted the lives of students in the school system. So previously, Wake County Public School System had a diversity policy in an attempt to provide diversity within each school based on socioeconomic status. And after the 2009 election cycle, a new board majority was swept in, a board majority whose campaigns were funded and helped by Art Pope, mainly by Art Pope. The new majority worked swiftly to disband from Wake's previously used system of assigning students, the diversity policy, and they began to quickly push a neighborhood schools agenda. The facade of what neighborhood schools were quickly fell, and students, parents, and teachers, and also many community members took action against the proposed neighborhood schools plans. And while that struggle was waging, the organization I'm with now, NC Heat, kind of formed and began to become a voice within that struggle. So what if Pope-supported assignment policy had become a reality here in Wake County? Neighborhood schools would have created a system of have and have-not schools. Wake County would have created high poverty and racially identifiable schools. And this system would have provided a worse education to some students while providing a better education to others. These policies pushed by Pope would have made it harder to deal with the other significant issues within the public school system. And as a few others have alluded to, his stores, the Variety Wholesalers, Inc., that targets low-income families and people of color, push for these policies that will provide an inferior education to those students of colors who come from those low-income neighborhoods. And Pope's reach on the education system not only does it reach into the K-12 system, especially in Wake County, it also reaches to the college system. Not only did he support the conservative Tea Party Board of Education members here in Wake County, he funded the campaigns of those who voted for budget cuts that cut state funding of education. They supported the budget that wiped out funding for education. That's completely unacceptable. And all you need to look at now is how many of North Carolina colleges are raising their tuitions in response to the fact that these cuts took place. Colleges can no longer afford to have lower tuitions because these cuts are taking place, and these cuts were made by campaigns that were funded by Art Pope. He also has funded campaigns and candidates who support policies and legislation that continue to push education as a privilege rather than a right. And not only do I personally hold that education is a human right, the North Carolina Constitution states that education is a right for all students, and it is unacceptable for us to allow education to become a privilege. And so I was kind of going to keep it brief here, and I'll talk more about education in kind of the Q&A session. But the last thing that I just wanted to say is that we must understand that each of us up here are talking about more specific issues, but we need to understand that our issues are connected, because most likely that attack is coming from Pope's money and influence. Education is a human right, and we are fighting for those rights we believe to be inherent that comes with being a human being. We're fighting for our dignity. As students, we are fighting for the right that we have to become educated and become productive members in society. And that is something that we strongly want as students. We want that thirst for knowledge that is not being provided by an education system that works out of privilege and not a right. And so the struggle for democracy and our rights is crucial. And we can't allow the 1% to buy our elections as they did in 2009 and 2010 with the Wake School Board and with the General Assembly. We can't allow the 1% to do that, and Art Pope is a part of that 1%. So if you care about the issues that were mentioned up here today or tonight, if you care about gay rights, economic justice, education, voting rights, workers' rights, we should be standing together against Pope's monetary influence and standing for what we believe in. Because I think it's going to be shown, and it's going to be shown in these elections, that the people will stand against his money, and the people will rise up and will vote for what we believe in, and won't vote for the people that are supported by Pope's money and pushing the policies that are detrimental to certain groups in society. And so I think it's important for us to educate others and to make sure that we understand where Pope got his money and where he's using it to push his influence.